Hey everybody, I'm Jig Park, and today I'll be presenting my imaginaryCTF 2024 Web Challenge Writeups. My opinion on the CTF was that it was kind of difficult, but mostly because I was overthinking things, and maybe I wasn't really experienced. So let's go through with this. So the first challenge is readme. It says try to read the flag.txt file. So let's go into this website. And we just see a static page. Inside the code, I couldn't really find that much that was like super popping out or that I really like cared about. So, but when I looked in the Docker file, I found this code, which apparently was the actual flag when I submitted it. So, pretty nice and pretty unexpected because it was like I expected to find a flag in the web server, but a free flag is a free flag. So, let's go on to the next one. So the next challenge is called Journal. It says, Dear Diary, there's no LFI in this app. LFI most likely means local file inclusion, which is a vulnerability in which a local file can be included and it'll print it out, so all that stuff. So let's just open this up and let's find what. Okay, so it just prints out a bunch of file.txt and there seems to be a parameter here. Let's try to put flag.txt in here. File not found. Okay, so let's try the LFI thing. Oh, we have a warning. So it asserts that the files, and if it's false, so there seems to be a warning like this. So upon further research of this functionality, it turns out this is actually a real vulnerability in which look at this. So it basically means that we can insert a variable in the middle of the string and basically execute remote code. So this is a remote code execution vulnerability, with not a LF5 vulnerability. So let's put this in here and let's solve it out. Let's see. So basically, what this does, it'll basically I assume inject code that's false, and then it'll also try to execute system ls, which will list the files in the directory, and then it'll close it out. So let's just list here. Oh, and then remote code execution works. So we know that from the Docker file here that even though it copies flag.txt into the /flag.txt, it'll move it to have a bunch of random stuff here. We don't like that because obviously I don't want to guess or anything, but my friend, he actually came up with a nice trick. So if we do cat/flag, we put a wildcard.txt, it'll try to find things that start with flag, and it'll just get anything, and it ignores, it'll just the wildcard just says just get anything that has the flag in the front. So let's just solve this out. And there we go, we get a flag. Nice. The next challenge is P2C, so it says, welcome to Python to Color, the world's best color picker from Python code. The flag is located in flag.txt. So let's open this up. So we can see a P2C, so there's a nice color in the background. There's Python to Color. So we just write some Python code. So let's do print hello world. And it changes the color. This isn't really giving us much, so let's try to look at the code and see if there's a solution to this. So looking into the code, you can see that if there's a post request, it'll get our code, it'll send it to the function here, and then it'll print, and then after that it'll try to check if it's compiled, and then if there's nothing in that's executed, it'll print out a bunch of random numbers. So we could just ignore this part because it basically just shows a bunch of random colors. What we care about is this one. So what we can see here is that in the def.main, it'll write our code into a file, it'll execute our code, and then it'll remove our file. So if we look at parse.py, it's just a bunch of garbage. To be honest, it doesn't really matter that much. So originally at first, I assumed that that this RGB parse, or my friend told me that this could be a way to find the flag, as we could just find the character of each flag. However, due to this amount of randomization, I found it better to just try to attack this code execution rather than having to find the actual characters of the flag. So if we look at the Docker file, we can see that the parse.py is inside the temporary uploads directory, which means that our code will execute based on this import, because I kind of had a problem with that when I was trying to run this locally before I actually put in a Docker container. So let's get to solving. So in here, what we want to use, a HTTP client and send it to our webhook.site, which will get the request. So our goal is to first read the flag file, next send it by an HTTP GET request as a URL parameter, and it'll basically read the flag as the URL parameter. So let's do this. So I had the code prepared, so this is the code that I used for the CTF. So what I would do is I would import HTTP client, import OS, because these are native to Python, because you cannot import any other external libraries inside the Docker container, which I assume is what is used in the remote server as well. So I have the webhook.site, I have the path, and then I have the file that's being read. I have the query string. It'll basically append this, and it'll send the connection. It'll send the GET request to that place, and it'll get a response. But this is basically garbage. It won't really matter to the server. So let's just put this in here and just verify that everything works. Okay, let's run code. Color changes, and look at that. We get the flag. The final challenge that I was able to solve is called crystals. So the description is I don't remember chemistry, dude. It's kind of dialuminum trioxide. I don't know. So basically, what we can see here is it's like a Breaking Bad fan page. It seems to be a static web page. It seems to be just like something here. If we look around the page source, it seems to be a static web page. So if we want to find something, we have to basically let's try to find some secrets in Burp Suite. So let's go in here, and we could just forward this, and we basically have the fan page right here. Look at the HTTP request. We don't really see anything that out of the ordinary. This kind of had me stuck in the beginning, because I didn't really know what to like attack at first. So at first, let's just send a so I just put a bunch of garbage here and wait for the request. Oops, I did not put the right 404 not found. Okay, so it says Sinatra doesn't know this ditty. So when we read the code here, we can see that it just is a static web page with Sinatra. There isn't really that much, and there's Nginx. I mean, yeah, but it was kind of strange. It was like it's nothing that really popped out in my head, or maybe I'm kind of inexperienced, so I don't really know. So, I mean, we can get. So what I looked at, this because this was the only file that wasn't really weird. So, and it was the only file that I was able to access outside of like the home directory. So if we get this, we're able to actually get the data for the PNG. So after a few wild attempts of trying to do a remote code execution or trying something crazy, what I did was this. I just put some garbage, and it seems that there's a flag. So nice.